Hello, fourth graders. This week we will be learning about energy and different types of energy. Once again, you will need your science notebook or a piece of paper and pencil to jot down some notes as we learn some things about energy. So what is energy? Energy is the ability to cause a change in matter. Remember, we've been learning about matter and what matter is. Well, energy is the ability to cause a change in matter, and it can be different ways, which we'll be learning about. I want you to remember that you can pause the video at any time to write down any of these pieces of information so that you remember that. So this is one thing to write down. Energy is the ability to cause a change in matter. Energy, boys and girls, is everywhere. It's all around us. It's in us. It's in electricity. It's in the movement of water and ships on water, in cars, when you are riding a swing, when you're swinging on a swing set, a clock. All of these things show examples of energy in motion. Now, there will be a couple videos that are linked to this assignment for you to watch. One of them is Bill Nye, the science guy, to learn about energy. I will attach this link to our assignment, and there will not be a worksheet for you. This is for in-person, but I will show you the worksheet so that you can think about some of these things. I will attach it to our classroom so you can think about some of those things after you watch Bill Nye Energy. All right, so there are a couple different kinds of energy. One kind is stored energy. Now, stored energy is the energy in matter that can cause that matter to move or change. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. What do you think would be some examples of stored energy? So as you're writing the definition of stored energy in your science notebook, pause the video and think, what is an example of stored energy? So it's energy waiting to be used. Hopefully you thought of a couple different examples. I'll give you two. One would be food. There's energy in food that helps us get energy. So when we eat and we have that energy stored in our body, that helps us move. So that would be stored energy. Another one would be a battery. Another example would be a battery. So a battery has stored energy waiting to be used as well. And that is a chemical kind of energy, which we'll learn about later when we learn about electricity. Then there's energy of motion. So energy of motion is energy that moving matter has. So as you pause to write this down, think about where would you see moving matter with energy? One example I think of is bowling. When you roll that ball and that ball is rolling down the alley, the bowling alley, that's energy in motion. And then when it hits those pins are sitting there, but once they're hit, they're flying around, and that would be energy of motion as well. All right, so let's talk about different forms of energy. We're going to look at heat, electrical energy, sound, chemical energy, mechanical energy, and light. So we're going to first look at heat. Now heat, all matter is made of tiny particles that are constantly moving. We learned about that. We learned that depending on the type of matter or phase of matter, solid, liquid, or gas, those particles look a little bit different, but they're all constantly moving. So the energy of motion of the tiny particles is heat. Electrical energy, shocks, lightning, and the electricity that runs through the wires of your house are examples of electrical energy. And that will actually be one unit within energy that we'll be learning more specifically about is electrical energy. Sound. Sound is a form of energy that you can hear. Sound energy comes from particles that are vibrating or moving back and forth rapidly. That is something that you should have learned about in 3rd grade. Then there's chemical energy. Chemical energy is stored in matter. Fuels such as gasoline, coal, and oil have stored energy. Wood has stored energy. When you burn it, you are releasing that energy. Matches are example stored energy. And as I said earlier, food, that's a banana, which is good for you. So it's good stored energy. We have mechanical energy. And mechanical energy is the energy of moving objects. The moving parts in a machine have mechanical energy. Put that there in case you want to pause and write that down. Last one we have is light. Light is a form of energy that you can see. Light energy from the sun moves in waves through space. Light energy also comes from electric lamps and burning matches or burning wood, burning things. You get the gist of that. And like I said, I will be attaching all of these videos to our assignment, so I'm not going to take time to record them. I will include that brain pop video about light, the one about heat. Oh, I haven't shown that yet, but we'll get there. Okay. So I want you to think about this, and in your notebook, I want you to list 5 forms of energy in use in your room right now, not your classroom, but think about where you're sitting right now in your house. What are 5 forms of energy that you can see being used right now? So pause and write. Now we can see energy. And one form that we can see, we talked about earlier, is energy produced by the sun, which is called solar energy. And scientists have figured out a way to trap or harness the energy from the sun to produce electricity in homes and buildings. Probably seen some solar fields around, or homes or buildings with solar panels on that are using the energy from the sun to create electricity in their own spaces. All right, so we're going to go back and look at a few of these types of energy a little bit more intensely. So again, heat. All matter is made of tiny particles that are constantly moving. Whoops, I think I'm on the wrong slide. Let me get to the right one. Sorry about that, guys and girls. All right, so we're at heat. So heat, all matter, like I said, is made of tiny particles that are constantly moving. The energy of motion of the tiny particles is heat. And so I'm going to include this brain pop video about heat in our assignment. So I want you to watch that. You could pause this video now and watch that brain pop on energy and heat. So I want you to think about these things. What happens when heat is applied to something? Now, if I'm going to use matter, we talk about water. If you add heat to water, there are a few things that happen. First, of course, it heats up, it warms up, so the temperature changes. But if it gets hot enough, then what happens is it starts to evaporate. It starts to create a gas, so change states of matter. So it went from a liquid to a gas. Now, what happens when heat is taken away? Again, I'm going to use water as an example. When heat is taken away from water and it gets cold enough, then it freezes and can turn to a solid. Temperature is a way to measure how hot or cold something is. Most parts of the world use Celsius as their parts of measurement for temperature. In America, here in the United States, we use Fahrenheit as our measurement of temperature. All right, so let's talk about adding and subtracting heat. Now, there are a couple words here, and I don't think we can see all of them at once, but we have condense, melt, freeze, and evaporate. So to change from a liquid to a gas, I used this example before. Which one do you think this is when you change from a liquid to a gas? Yep, we said evaporate. So evaporate, when water evaporates, it's changing from a liquid to a gas. Now it's changing from a gas to a liquid. I think we use this example with matter when you have a glass of cold water or lemonade or something, and you get that liquid on the side of your cup. Well, that is because the gas has cooled and changed to a liquid that's surrounding that cup in the air, and that's called condensation. So that is to condense. I'm going to pull these up. Now to change from a solid to a liquid, so think of an ice cube changing to a liquid, well, that is melt. And to change to a solid for water is to freeze. Now energy can be converted from one form to another. And so you are going to watch this Generation Genius video called Energy Transfer. And before you watch it, I want you to think about this. Is electrical energy the same as or different from the energy it takes to play a game of soccer? Think about your answer to that. And then pause the video, and I want you to watch your Generation Genius Energy Transfer. And then come back, and we'll look at these next questions. Okay, so how does Dr. Jeff's mom transfer energy to Bert? If you said that he uses motion energy to pedal a bike, which spins a wheel that is attached to a generator, well, then you are right. The generator changes the motion energy into electrical energy, which flows through wires to Bert. Bert then stores energy in his batteries to use later. Pretty cool. How about the second question? Can you think of a device that converts electrical energy into heat? What about light or sound? A toaster is an example of a device that converts electrical energy into heat energy. A lamp converts electrical energy into light energy, and a boombox, it's what we used to call it when I was a kid, but like a radio, would convert electrical energy into sound energy. Think of your phone or your iPad creating that sound energy too. All right, another video that you're going to watch is food as energy. I want you to think about these questions. Can you think of one way we use food for energy? And what does it mean when the body burns food for energy? Okay, you're going to watch the Generation Genius Food Science for Kids and then come back to the video. All right, after the video, how does your body turn food into energy? When a person eats food, their digestive system breaks it down into small pieces. Those small pieces are digested and absorbed by the body. Inside the body, food helps us get energy and also to grow and repair. Food is super important. Think of it as our gasoline. It's what keeps us going. So how is energy transferred from a plant to a person? Think about that one. Well, energy is first transferred from the sun to the plant by photosynthesis. Then the plant is eaten by a person. When this happens, energy is transferred from the plant to a person. The lettuce, vegetables, fruits, those are all types of plants. And why is sunlight energy important? Well, for one, we couldn't survive without the sun. Almost all energy on Earth can be traced back to the sun. Photosynthesis in plants converts light energy to chemical energy. Animals and people eat the plants, and then the chemical energy in the plant can be used by animals, including humans, because technically we're animals, we're mammals. And then finally, why is it important to think about the types of foods you eat for energy? This is important. Some foods contain very important nutrients that help the body grow. Others contain additives and other substances that are bad for you in large quantities. So you want to make sure that you are putting healthy food in your body. That's what will help our bodies function appropriately or correctly. All right, so boys and girls, we learned a lot about energy. We learned about energy in people, energy in mechanical things, in electricity. So I want you to make sure that you watch those videos that I added, and there will be 1 quizzes to go along with one of the Generation Geniuses. So make sure you're taking notes in that science notebook and then doing that quizzes. That quizzes is just a way for us to check in about our learning. Thanks, boys and girls, and have a great week.